So let's get started. I'd like everybody to lay back on their mat. And if you'd like, what you could do is take a small pillow underneath the back of your head for a little bit of support. So I use a yoga block, but you could use whatever you'd like. And then we'll place our hands on the lower portion of the belly. And let's just begin with closing the eyes. And settling into our bodies with a few deep belly breaths. And we can use our hands here as a focal point of where our breath is beginning. And also where it's ending. So as you inhale, begin to initiate your breath to that space below your hands, feeling it rise like a balloon. Spreading the breath out laterally into the sides of your rib cage. And lastly, all the way up into the chest. And then as you exhale, it's the opposite of that. We'll feel the upper lobes of the lungs emptying, side ribs moving in, and lastly, the belly moving in towards the spine. Again, inhaling, we'll breathe as much as we can in and out through our nose. As you exhale, let your face become expressionless. Relax the jaw so that there can be a small separation between your teeth. And I mean, it sometimes is just stressful, just kind of getting into this room this morning and connecting online and doing all those little protocols. So now I'd just like you to allow that busyness, that doing energy to fall away. So you can just simply arrive into your body this morning. And as you exhale, you can feel any of that tension draining into the floor. One more big breath. Breathe it out. Good. So let's just begin with rolling the head loosely side to side. It's like we're taking the chin from one shoulder and over to the other. And as you do that, notice if there's more limitation on one side than the other. And that's normal. Sometimes we have a tighter shoulder. If you do have a tight side, you could always just pause there for an extra second, breathe into that, and then go back to the other side. Good. And then without rolling our head, let's just recenter it. Bring both knees up towards your chest now, and we'll wrap our hands around the front of the shins. Now, if the shins don't feel accessible, you could always bring your hands to the backs of your thighs if you'd like. And having a hold of the legs here, let's just have a little roll side to side. And as you roll side to side, you can try taking your knees a little bit closer towards you and then a little bit further away so that you can roll down across your tailbone, even across the back of your hips, into your lower back, maybe even into the mid back if you hug those knees in a whole lot, and then go back down again. So we're just stimulating all of that latent spinal fluid that gets collected sort of at the base of the spine, particularly after sleep. Getting that hydration happening throughout the motherboard of our body, which is our spine. So without rolling now, let's just bring the knees into the very center, nice big inhale. And as you exhale, we'll straighten the left leg down along the floor, holding the right knee at the chest. And we can bring the hands and interlace them around the front of your right shin. Now, as we bring the right knee in towards the chest, let's press the back of the left leg down, reaching into that left heel. And actively relax your right hip so that the arms are doing the work for you. Not so much your hip flexors, we're not pulling the leg in. With our leg muscles or our hip, we're pulling it in with the strength of our arms. And then even though the arms are active, let's just check in on the shoulders, make sure they haven't clenched up to the ears. We can soften them down. Let's have one more breath here together. Good. Now, release your hands from the right knee, but keep the knee up towards your body. And we'll just begin to circle the right knee around, and as large of a circle as we can go while keeping the pelvis really level on the floor. So we don't want the pelvis kind of lifting and rocking all over the place. Let's see if we can keep the pelvic floor a little bit engaged, and that will help to keep the pelvis level. Now, same leg, but just opposite direction. And we're just lubricating that right hip joint with our movement. Good. Now bring that right knee to center. And what I'd like you to do is take your left hand and hook that over top of the right knee. And then extend the right arm out nice and wide at about the height of the shoulder with your palm up. Now have a great big inhale here. And as you exhale, we'll track the right knee over towards the left. So we'll be rolling towards the outside of our left hip, and you can let that right hip come right up off of the floor into that movement. And then let's just roll the head loosely back towards the right shoulder. And breathe. So we're not trying to muscle our way into this pose. We're really just sort of letting gravity work its magic here. The leg getting a little heavier as you exhale. Good. One more big breath. And then slowly bring that knee all the way back up to center. And we'll straighten the right leg down along the floor. Now let's bring the left knee in towards our chest. Wrap the hands around the front of your left shin. You could interlace your fingers here. And then again, just guiding that left knee in towards the chest as you press the back of your right leg gently down into the floor. So even though we're pressing our right leg down, our left hip and thigh are releasing and relaxing. Now, as you draw that leg in a little closer, relax the jaw. Notice if you're clenching anywhere. We want to be releasing the tension from the body, not just sort of shifting it into a new area. Let's have one more big breath. Relax those shoulders. Good. So we'll release our hands from our left knee and just begin to circle that left knee around in as large of a circle as you can go. Remember, we keep the lower belly and pelvic floor engaged here in order to stabilize the hips so that right hip isn't rocking all over the place. Good, same leg and just opposite direction. Good, let's bring the knee all the way to center now. Take your right hand, hook it over top of your left knee. Take your left arm out nice and wide with the palm of your hand facing up at about the height of the shoulder. Great big inhale. And as you exhale, tracking that left knee over to the right. And as you track it over to the right, you can roll towards your outer right hip. The left hip can rise up off the floor if you have that range of motion. And then you could let your head roll back in the direction of your left shoulder. And then just breathing here, and think about breathing so that as you inhale, your breath is moving laterally like an accordion. We're trying to work the breath into the sides of our ribs here, down into the belly. And as you exhale, just let that leg get a little bit heavier. Good, one more big breath. Excellent. And then slowly roll yourself all the way back. And you can release. And now let's bend both knees and place the feet on the floor. And if we widen our feet up a touch, so the feet actually come off just onto the edge of our mat. So they're quite a bit wider than hip width apart. with the knees bent. We're just gonna windshield wiper both of our knees at the same time over to the right. So let both knees just drop over to the right. Yeah. And as you do that, you might be able to feel that stretch running all the way along your left thigh towards the inside of your left knee. Good, and then let's bring the knees all the way up and windshield wiper the legs over to the left, both knees over at the same time. You'll notice that the right hip wants to pop up, and it will a little bit, but just see if you can anchor down through the back of your right hip a hair. Good. One more time each side, so let's bring the legs all the way up, inhale. And as you exhale, carry the legs over to the right. Inhale, bring the knees all the way back up. Last one. Exhale, we'll bring the legs over to the left. So remember, with this particular movement, you're stretching the longest muscle in your body, which is the sartorius muscle. So you might be able to feel that stretch, like I said before, right knee this time across your right thigh towards the outer hip. And now let's bring the knees all the way back up. And knees coming up towards your chest again. So with the knees up towards our chest, what we're going to do is take our hands, elevate the feet up, and clasp the outer edges of the feet. Now, if that is not accessible, you have the modification of taking this long strap or tie or whatever it is that you guys have there and lassoing your feet with your strap instead of using your hands. Either way is just fine. Okay, so if you're using your hands, you'll have your hands clasped around the outside edges of the feet. And we're sinking those knees down towards the sides of the rib cage. So the more that you pull down into the strap or pull down into your hands, into the feet, the more that you'll feel those knees sink towards the side of the body here. And feel free, if it works for your back, to have a little roll here side to side. This is happy baby pose. So as you go side to side, rather than clenching ears, shoulders up to ears, let's relax them down. Good, and then without rolling, let's just hold it here at center. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, slowly begin to guide the soles of the feet together. So it's the feet are going to touch, the insides of the feet are going to touch, and we can start to draw the heels down towards the belly button. Now again, as you do this, you could have the strap around the feet, or you could have your hands around the outer edges of your feet if you prefer. And you could also roll a little bit side to side if that works for you to release the tissues in your back and your hips. And if it doesn't, you could hold it stable. Either way, let's just again check in with the shoulders, lengthen the back of the neck. And then let's, without rolling here, we'll just rest in the center for a couple more deep breaths. As you inhale, begin to press the soles of the feet against one another. And as you exhale, draw the arms down towards your body, pulling the heels in towards the belly button. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release your feet and let's set them down to the floor. Now straightening the legs down along the floor one by one, let's just give the hip flexors a little break here. So legs are extended. Extend your arms up over your head, interlacing your fingers and then rolling the palms away from you. And let's just have a nice big stretch here. So reaching down into the heels, reaching up into the hands firmly, squeezing the elbows in towards the ears. Let's have a great big inhale as we reach tall. Exhale, relax. Sweep your arms back down beside your hips and rebend your knees, bringing your feet onto the floor. Again, let's grab a hold of our strap or our belt or whatever we have nearby us here, okay? So what we'll do now is extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Take your strap and lasso your strap around your right foot. Now, if you're really bendy and you can grab a hold of your right foot with your hands, that's available to you, you could also do that. So pressing that right heel up towards the ceiling, let's inhale. And as you exhale, straighten the left leg down along the floor, firming the back of the left thigh down reaching into both of the heels equally. Good. Cindy, see if you can straighten that leg just a touch more. Yeah, excellent. Even if that means that you need to take it away from you a little bit. Michael, you could do the same thing. We could just back the leg off a little bit and try and go as straight as you can, because it'll actually be more effective that way. Good, nice work. Kimberly, pressing the back of your left thigh firmly down into the floor, rooting through there. That's it. Nice work, everybody. Now let's have a great big inhale here. And as you exhale, slowly begin to open the right leg out to the right side. So it's like we're peeling that inner thigh open as we bring the leg out to the side. Now the trick is that the left hip's gonna wanna pop up a little bit here. So let's bring our left hand onto the left hip and just apply a little bit of an anchoring down through there. So it's like we're pulling that leg down as we reach, or pulling the hip down as we reach into that right heel. And we still want that leg as straight as it was when it was above us. Okay, so if we bring some tension into that strap, then we can start to build that stretch, not just into the inner thigh, but also along the hamstrings. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly carry the leg all the way back up. Okay, so we'll remain with our right leg inside of the strap. So keep it around that same right leg, but bring the ends of the strap into your left hand now. And open the right arm out nice and wide. Great big inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, start to track the right leg now across your body over to the left. Yeah, and as you do that, you can feel that right hip lift up off of the floor maybe. Reach back into your right arm. And press the inner part of your right foot away from you, the inner arch away from your body. That'll sweeten that stretch up a little bit. And then breathe. Nice big exhales. Inhale. Now as you exhale, slowly track that right leg all the way back up to center. Rebend your right knee and place the right foot on the floor. And now let's sweep the left leg up towards the ceiling, bringing the strap around the sole of your left foot. Good. Inhale. And as you exhale, straighten the right leg down along the floor. Pressing the sole of the left foot upwards, straightening that leg, and then let's just check in with the shoulders and drop the shoulders away from the ears. Good, breathing here. And remember, the hamstrings tend to be a little bit stubborn, so we'll just take some extra breaths here, feeling those tissues along the back of your left thigh growing long. Think about drawing your breath into that area of the body. If you start to feel those tissues soften, maybe you can start to draw the leg in a little bit closer or straighten it a little bit more. Now let's interlace the strap around our left hand only. Great big inhale. And as you exhale, begin to open the leg outwards to the left side. And as you do that, you could always bring your right hand to the top of your right hip and apply a little bit of downward pressure onto it so that you're able to keep the pelvis as anchored and as level as possible. So both legs should be fairly energetic here. We're pressing out into our heels, our legs are strong. And let's have a nice big full belly breath here. Good. And slowly elevating that leg all the way back up. Now let's keep the strap around our left foot. We'll bring the ends of the strap into our right hand only and open the left arm out nice and wide, the palm turned up. Big inhale, straighten those legs. Exhale, track the leg over to the right. And you can if you have the mobility, you can let your left hip rise up off of the floor. And the purpose of the strap here is just to anchor the leg. It's not to, really pull yourself over into the twist. You can use it to help anchor you and guide you, but just make sure that we're not muscling our way into any of these stretches. So if we start to brace and we're not really breathing fully, then we're actually shifting into a sympathetic nervous state. So we really want to keep that breath flowing and keep our stretches within ranges of motion that we're able to breathe. Otherwise, we sort of flip over into a state that we don't really want to be and we're not trying to practice in. So one more big breath here. Focus on that long exhale. Good. And then slowly elevate that leg all the way back up. So we're going to keep our left leg up there and bring our right leg up as well inside of the strap. We have both legs up above us now. That's it. Press up into the heels and just start to slowly draw the toes down towards your head so you can feel the Achilles stretching out and the calves growing long. And then let's do the opposite. Point the toes all the way up towards the ceiling, stretching out the shins and the tops of the feet. One more time, flex the feet, pull the toes down towards you. And then let's point the toes. Good. And then neutral feet. Inhale. And as you exhale, let's widen the legs out along the strap, as wide as you can comfortably go, or the length of your strap if you have a shorter one. And we want to be keeping the legs as straight as possible. If you're a little bit bendier, you could always reach up and grab the outer edges of your feet with your hands if you don't need the strap here. And feel free to have a little roll side to side. Sometimes that feels nice to release the hips and the back here in this position. And as always, let's just remind the shoulders that they don't need to be clenched up to the ears. We can soften them. And then without rolling, let's just settle into the very center of the back here. One more big breath. Excellent. And then pulling on the ends of the strap. So we'll bring our legs all the way back together, bending the knees and placing the feet on the floor. Good. And we can just move the strap off to the side. So what we'll do here now is we're going to be rolling over to our left side. And I'd like you to have either a folded blanket or a block or pillow, something underneath your head like a little pillow so that our neck is fairly neutral. Okay, so we've got the head supported. We're on our left side, and bring your knees up so that your knees are straight in front of your hips. So you have this sort of 90-degree angle happening with hip to knee and knee down to ankles. Okay, now let's extend our arms out in front of our chest, stacking them together, bringing the palms together. We'll leave the left hand where it is, the bottom hand. And as you inhale, begin to sweep your right arm, dragging it along the floor. So keep the arm on the ground, you guys, all the way up, over your head. It might start to lift off the ground here at some point. All the way around back behind you, over top of your right hip, and back to your left hand. And so just keep the movement of the arm going. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, bring it around behind you so that our breath is facilitating the movement of the arm. And we can slowly begin to increase that range as we begin to become more mobile through the shoulder, through the upper back, and through the chest. Good, one more, nice and slow this time with this arm. Remember, we're trying to keep the arm as close to the floor as we sweep it around as we can without bending the elbow. Good. And then bring the hands back together. Okay, so let's roll on over to our opposite side, and we'll try this with our other arm now. So if you rest onto your right side, and then bring your knees up so that your knees are in front of your hips and palms of the hands together. All right, good. So as we inhale, let's sweep that left arm all the way up, drag it along the floor. And it's going to go back behind us on the exhale, over top of the hip, and back to where we started. Good. Inhale, sweep the arm up. Exhale, bring it around. Keeping within a healthy range, so if there's any discomfort in the shoulder, let's avoid those places. We can stretch into it, but there shouldn't be any sort of pinchiness happening here. Good. Let's do one more, everybody, just really nice and slow. Slow this one down. Breathe through it. That's it. And then we can bring our hands back together. Okay. Nice work, everybody. So let's roll on over, and we'll be coming into all fours. So if any of you, excuse me, have tender knees at all, feel free to take a blanket and fold it and support the base of your knees if you feel like being in all fours is uncomfortable for you, okay? So otherwise, let's place our hands now directly below our shoulders and our hips directly above our knees so that we're in this sort of tabletop position. Inhale here with a neutral spine. And as you exhale, let's begin to slowly round the back, lifting the spine up and pulling the belly button, looking towards the belly button. And then as you inhale, slowly draw the spine into the body, tipping through the pelvis, looking up or ahead. Exhale, start with your tailbone, tuck it first, roll your spine along like a string of pearls, bone by bone. Good, and then just keep going with your own rhythm and length of breath here. Try to really slow this down so that we're isolating the movement. And there's probably going to be areas of your back that tend to move in little clusters. Let's see if you can focus on slowing it down. Articulating that spine independently. One more in each direction. Good, and then slowly coming back to a neutral position. So if we widen the knees just a touch and bring the big toes together to touch back behind us, and then sitting the hips back towards the heels. So as you sit your hips back, now let's stretch the arms out nice and long, palms flattening. And if we have the flexibility here, we can lower the forehead all the way down to rest the forehead onto the floor into child's pose. Breathing into the back body. And then slowly walking both hands up and over to the left. And as you walk the hands up and over to the left, stretching the right fingertips as high as you can go so you can feel that stretch running from your right hip through side body all the way into that right armpit. Now breathe into that line that we're stretching. Puff the right side of your ribs out with your breath. Good. Walk your hands all the way to center and then up and over to the right side, stretching the left arm as high as you can go here. Nice full breath. Good. And then all the way back to center and up to all fours. So from all fours here, what we're going to be doing is sliding our left leg forward into pigeon. So if we pull our left knee forward and bring the left knee towards the left side of the mat and bring the left toes towards the right side of your mat. And then we'll take our back leg and we'll slide our back leg as far as it will comfortably go here. Now, if you'd like extra support for your hip, what you could do is grab your pillow and just tuck that underneath that left hip so that it feels like the hip is propped up and we're not just hanging out on the knee. Okay? So the further ahead that you take your left foot towards the front of your mat, the greater that the stretch is going to be on the hip. So you can adjust that. So let's inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly ease down onto your forearms and onto your elbows. And you could even bring your head down to rest on your hands or onto the floor. Good, this looks great, everybody. Yeah. And Kelly, just see if you can come down to rest on your forearms if you have that flexibility so that you can rest the body a little bit more into this position.
I have a left hip replacement.
Okay.
That's why I'm going down the side.
Okay, girl. You do any modifications for that special hip you need to.
I'm just super excited I can even fold my leg in. I couldn't do that for 10 years while I was waiting.
Exactly. Okay, do any adjustments you need to. That's great. Thanks for letting me know. Let's have one more breath into back body here, everybody. Good. And then we can walk ourselves up onto the hands. And we can slowly slide that leg back. Good. Into all fours. Have a breath here to reset. And then we'll take our opposite leg forward into pigeon. Getting the support that you need to below the hip if you'd like a little bit of support. So that the pelvis ideally is as level as possible as you guys do this. Good. Sliding the back leg as far back as you comfortably can. Sinead, lower the right hip just a hair if you could. Good, that's it. Relax those shoulders, Susan. Yes. Good, breathe. So rather than just waiting for this to be over, which sometimes we get into that state of just sort of waiting and holding, see if you can sink in as if this is endless. Excellent. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly begin to press yourself all the way up onto your hands. Slide that leg back into all fours. And one more time, let's sit back to child's pose. Hips sitting back towards the heels. You could always put a little support underneath your bum here if you need it. But this time, rather than having the arms extended overhead, let's sweep the arms beside our hips, resting the backs of the hands onto the floor. Forehead on the ground, hips sitting back to the heels. Full deep breaths here. Inhale. And as you exhale, Slowly press yourself all the way up into a seated position. Nice. Okay, everybody. So let's come onto our feet. And if you'd like, what you could do is have your pillow block or whatever you have there, folded blanket, excuse me, and just place that underneath the edge of your hips, just so that you're able to give your back a little bit of support in this position. And then what we'll do is we'll bring the soles of our feet together and draw the heels in towards the pubic bone. And if you just take a peek down at your heels, just make sure that they're lined up, because sometimes one foot kicks forward a little bit further ahead than the other. So hands around the shins or the ankles here. Let's inhale and just draw the chest up and plug the shoulders back and down. And as you exhale, slowly begin to draw the body into a forward fold. Now, as you come forward, let's think about maintaining the distance between the pubic bone and the breastbone as we come forward. So if it starts to really shorten, then we know we're kind of crunching over the front of our body and probably losing a lot of the integrity of the spine. So think about pubic bone and breastbone remaining long, even as I begin to fold forward here. So initiating that movement more from my belly button and drawing the back ribs up and in. Let's have a few more deep breaths here. And just see what happens if you really relax into that exhalation. Soft shoulders, relax the jaw, and let there be a small separation between your teeth. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly begin to rise the body up. And we can use our hands on the outsides of the knees just to help pull them all the way back up. And then bringing the legs just slightly out in front of us here. So what we're going to do is bring our left leg underneath our right leg so that our left heel is just to the outside of the right hip. Okay, now if we take our right foot and step our right foot just to the outside of the left knee, that would be one variation. To go a little bit further, you could slide the foot all the way back in the direction of the hip. If the hips are a little tighter, you could always keep the foot slightly to the inside of the knee rather than crossing it over. Okay, either way, what we're looking for eventually is the feet to be level at the sides of the body. And that might not happen this morning, but that's the direction that we're moving in. And when we move into the rest of this pose, we don't want to be feeling any pain through our knees. So we should just be feeling this intense stretch through our hips. So let's inhale and sit up a little bit taller. Roll those shoulders back and down. And then as you exhale, slowly begin to come forward over the legs. As you come forward over the legs, you can start to feel that stretch through your hip. The other option too is to be sitting in a simple cross-legged position and moving forward in that position as well, if taking the extra cross of the legs is too much, okay? So as you start to sit yourself forward, you can root that right sitting bone down towards the floor. Relax the shoulders. One more big breath. Good, and then slowly begin to sit yourself back up, and then we'll unwrap the legs. So if you were doing a simple cross-legged position, you could do the same thing and then just cross the other one on top or in front. If you'd like to go to the full pose now, what we'll do is bring our right leg underneath our left leg to begin, the knee towards the center of the mat, and then step the left leg over top of the right to whatever degree is manageable for you. There should be no pain in the knees. And you can start to work the heel in the direction of the hip. So find the modification that works for you this morning, okay? Root that left sitting bone down, inhale tall. And then as you exhale, let's begin to slowly fold forward. And sometimes it's just a slight lean, and that's enough to sweeten that stretch up. If you're a little bit more flexible and your hips are a little bit more open, you can always release into this and kind of rest your whole body down. But let's just keep it so that it's modified perfectly for where you're at this morning. Relaxing those shoulders. Nice full breath. And then slowly rising all the way up, unwrapping the legs and extending them out. All right, nice work this morning, everybody. So we're going to be moving into Shavasana. That's the end relaxation on your back. So feel free, you guys, to get yourself cozy. I'll be seated. I'm guiding you through it, but you guys, I want you to be laying down on your back. So once you get onto your back, just feel free to use a pillow below your knees. That often feels really nice, especially if you have any low back stuff or hip stuff going on. A pillow under the knees feels great. If you want a blanket over top of your body, an eye bag if you have it, or a folded towel over the eyes works. And also if you'd like anything underneath the back of your head, feel free to do that as well. Okay, so just adjusting yourself in whatever position feels comfortable for you. Good. And doing all of those little wiggles and adjustments needed to get yourself cozy here. There's no rush. Take your time. Good. And settling in with a few deep, full belly breaths. As you exhale, feel the silhouette of your body releasing into the ground. Feel the weight of your bones settling. As you inhale, drawing your breath throughout your entire body, 360 degrees of breathing. As you exhale, feel every cell in your body exhaling, letting go. Feel how heavy you can allow your legs to become here, loosening the ankles and the knees. Feeling your thigh muscles releasing over the bones. Hip creases relaxing into the body. The weight of the pelvis loosening into your lower back. And feel the length of the back of your body resting on the ground, the spine softening. The warmth of the back helping to soothe and release those deep layers of muscle woven between the ribs into the shoulders. As you inhale, feel the lift of your breath through your belly, your rib cage, and your chest. And as you exhale, relaxing the belly deeply. Feel your ribs softening around your lungs. On the next inhale, feel the lift of your chest, the heart rising up. And as you exhale, relaxing the chest deeply into the shoulders and into the upper back. And feel that relaxation washing down your shoulders, loosening your elbows and your wrists. Relaxing the fingers. Relaxing the neck and the throat, a small space between your teeth, the jaw relaxed. You feel the face expressionless, even the tiny muscles around your eyes softening. The tongue relaxed from the root to the tip. And the brain relaxing onto the back of your skull. Each wave of breath unveiling another layer of tension from your body. And then slowly bringing your awareness back, but allowing that relaxation to remain so it can really be the guiding force through the rest of your day. As you feel ready, rolling to your right side and easing yourself up into a seated position. Namaste.